Real Talk Sports with Rico. Today, I'll be your host. Today's show, we are talking about the NBA playoffs that are coming up. This is the final week of the season. And I have actually two words that describe both conferences. And we're going to start with the Eastern Conference here. So let me go ahead and bring up actually the standings here. And so right now, when I'm looking at the Eastern Conference, the one thing that comes to mind, or the one word that I will say, is inconsistency. When you look at the Eastern Conference as a whole, reflecting for the year, this has been a very inconsistent conference. And starting with the Milwaukee Bucks, even though they have been really steady at number two, it has been a rocky, steady number two. They've already gone through a head coach in Griffin. Now they have Doc Rivers there. They still haven't figured out defensively who they are. At times, you have Chris Middleton playing well. At times, he's not in the lineup. They still haven't figured out what their bench rotation has been ever since that they made that trade, which got Dame Lillard over there. It seems that there's been a lack of continuity on the offensive end, so they have been very inconsistent. When you look at the Cleveland Cavaliers, they had a hot streak, and then they lost their main star in Donovan Mitchell. They have been a very inconsistent bunch. And in fact, I think a lot of people would argue that the Cleveland Cavaliers were a lot more dangerous and a lot more exciting last season than they are this year. They have had various injuries to not only Donovan Mitchell, but also Darius Garland has been out. I think he hurt his jaw or whatever the case may be. Evan Mobley hasn't really been the same player this year as well. And then also, too, with the additions of Max Strus coming over there, it has added a bit more of a scoring punch for them, especially from the three-point land. But I'm not sure that they really addressed kind of their pressing need that they really needed to really look upon here in the offseason. And I think it came down to their physicality. When you look at the series that they had last year against the Knicks, I think that the Knicks were just a bit more physical than the Cavaliers. Next, the Pacers. The Pacers were top in the East, right? At one point in time, the Pacers had one of the best offenses in all the NBA, and defensively, they were terrible. That's actually flipped. Defensively, they've gotten a lot better since they got Pascal Siakam over there, but offensively, this team has slipped. And then also, too, Tyrese Halliburton has missed games. Much of what he was doing earlier in his career, he was missing some games. So they're now in a situation where they're holding on. They're not into the play-in situation. But, the Pacers have to be a little disappointed with the start that they have. The Knicks. The Knicks have fallen off since Julius Randle obviously has gone down. They also have lost Ginobili as well. With OG going down with the elbow injury, I think they had a huge winning streak with him in the lineup. He hasn't really looked the same since he's got that surgical procedure done on his elbow, and he's missed some time here. That leaves Jalen Brunson pretty much, and then also to the rest of his Villanova teammates essentially to go ahead and pick up the void, whether it's Devin Gento, whether it's Josh Hart. Those are the guys that Tibbs is going to have to heavily rely on here in the playoffs. Now, the great thing about this is that these guys have won before in the collegiate level. The biggest question is, can they win now here at the NBA level? Is there a run in them, right? I know Devin Gento has already won a title with the Golden State Warriors, but you have to ask yourself, do the Knicks have enough, especially without Julius Randle? A lot of people may argue that the Knicks might be better without Julius Randle. I will give Tibbs some credit. I think the young man's name is McBride coming off the bench. I think he's been stellar here. I think that they found some gold with Hartenstein. I think he's been a terrific big. Sorry if I butchered his name as well, but I think that he's been excellent to fill in for Mitchell Robinson. So the Knicks have taken a bit of a dip due to injuries. One of the most consistent teams in the Eastern Conference are the Celtics and the Magic. The Magic were one of the hottest young teams last season. They continue that streak, and they actually have a chance to possibly get the number 2 seed, which would be crushing, I think, for the Milwaukee Bucks. And that leads into the inconsistency that I will say has really kind of swarmed the Eastern Conference. The next team that has actually been consistent has been the Celtics. Even though they have lost Drew Holiday for an extended amount of time, And really the fact remains is, can this unit stay healthy? The biggest thing that scares me about the Celtics is they're relying on Porzingis, who historically has gotten injured and he historically has not shown up in the playoffs. So if he is healthy and this unit can stay together, certainly I think that they are going to make another run at this thing. And I think that they actually can get back to the finals. Now, if they win it, that's another thing, but I think that they can get back. With the Heat, Bulls, and the Hawks, and the 76ers, just again, the 76ers, starting with them, is more like the Knicks with the injuries. I'll give it to them with Joel Embiid. And the biggest thing that I was thinking about with this is he was talking about the process. And the process has been injury riddled. And it's the irony to this whole thing is that, now the question is Joel Embiid even going to come back here next season? Are the Philadelphia 76ers going to finally move on? And Tyrese Maxey has been incredible, but I just think that the 76ers have lost, I think, a lot of their depth. And I'm not sure if Joel Embiid is going to be able to get back to that MVP level that he had before the knee procedure. Heat, Bulls, Hawks, most inconsistent teams in the East. One day they look like they can beat the top of the East or anybody in the NBA association. The next day they look like a team that shouldn't be there. The Heat, I know, have had some injuries. I love Jaime Jaquez. He's one of the best rookies, I think, in this draft class. He's played stellar. The Chicago Bulls have a lot of questions going into the offseason. Now they have something looming over their head coach, is if will he stay with the Bulls? Is he going to go back to Kentucky where he first started off in college? And obviously, Coach Billy Donovan was a terrific college coach, which really makes you think about this. But no matter what happens with the Bulls, they have to figure out some things from a front office standpoint, and they have a lot of question marks, whether it's, Patrick Williams figuring out what they're going to do with DeMar Rosen, what they're going to do with Zach LaVine, how they're going to handle the Dosunmu, and then also to the Kobe White situation. How are they going to build around that? So many different questions here. And, the Bulls are one of the best clutch teams in the NBA. And if they can somehow get out of the play-in situation and keep it close with you, whoever it is that they would play, if they were able to make it out of the play-in situation, it would be a tough out, I think, with the Chicago Bulls. The Hawks, they have a little bit of life left here. I know that they have Trae Young coming back from the torn ligament in his finger, but they've been vastly inconsistent. And even if they make it out of the play-in situation, not sure if they're going anywhere. And I'm not sure really out of the Eastern Conference if there is a team to bet on that can do the same thing that the Miami Heat did, where they made it all the way to the finals. So, I think maybe that was a one-off situation here, even though I'm rooting for the Bulls to do so. I would love it out there if they were, but I don't think that that's going to happen. Next up, guys, let's look at the Western Conference really quickly. And the one thing that comes to mind here is going to be competitiveness. All right. So the Western Conference has been very, very competitive. And I will say this, that even in the last week, you're looking at the last, 5 to 9 or 8 spots here that can change drastically within the next couple games. And this is how competitive that this conference has been, unlike the Eastern Conference, where it's been set at the 9-10 for so long. And shout out to the Rockets too, who got eliminated. I got to give Coach Nduka his credit as well for bringing that team back. I think that they're going to be there in the future. Ran into some injuries, and then also to just some growing up situations here. But shout out to the Rockets who got eliminated. But now looking at this thing, the Timberwolves, they have held on to the number 1 spot despite losing Karl Anthony Towns. That's been impressive. I think that you can look at Anthony Edwards and perhaps say that he might be the MVP of the league, other than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think between those two, those are like my 2 favorites for the MVP candidates. I wouldn't blink an eye if you gave it to one or the other. The Nuggets, The Nuggets have been very consistent, even though the bench is not what it was before. The Nuggets are still a complete roster. And the question for the Nuggets is, can they get Jamal Murray healthy? Can they get this unit healthy and together again? If they can, I think that the Nuggets are going to be a tough out. And they're like they're my odds favorites on getting back to the NBA Finals, right? So then we have the Thunder, who have made a sensational jump. Chet Holmgren has been very good in his rookie year, even though he sat out last year. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander has taken 3 or 4 leaps here, and I must say that the Clippers, who are right behind them, might be questioning why they went ahead and traded for Paul George. And I think at this point in time, you know, it, it's a grain of salt now, but you're probably looking and you're saying, man, I wish we would have kept Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and let Paul George stay with OKC, because he has developed so much here with OKC, and the future is very bright with the Williams twins. Like, these guys are very good. Love to see Isaiah Joe shoot the basketball. Very, very solid team, and they're going to be scary. The Clippers have fallen off a little bit here in the 4th position. They have gotten Russell Westbrook back, so I think that is going to give them a bit of a punch. But Kawhi Leonard has been missing some games here as of late. So I've always said that the Clippers, to me, are like the Dallas Cowboys in the NBA. Great regular seasons. They get to the playoffs and something goes wrong. Somebody gets hurt. Some kind of call goes against them, some turnover, something. And I think that's where the Clippers are headed. The Dallas Mavericks have been consistent here. And I mean, the thing about them is, look, I didn't know if Luka Doncic and then Kyrie Irving would be able to play together. Derek Lively has been terrific. I actually spoke to Devontae the Real Hogan, and I told him he was going to be an excellent lob threat like Jared Allen. A lot of people were sleeping on this young man. He's been outstanding this year. He's definitely one of the better rookies in this class this year. And I think that I mean, you could call me out on this, but I think that he's actually what Jason Kidd was looking for, because remember, he reminds you a lot of a guy named Tyson Chandler. And remember, the Mavs won with Tyson Chandler. So it doesn't shock me that Jason Kidd went out and got a guy that's similar in qualities to Tyson Chandler. I think he's trying to build kind of the same roster. Now, it's yet to be seen what's going to happen here, but can Luka Doncic, can Kyrie Irving, can they get to the second round and beyond is the question here. So they can get hot. They have two of the best scorers in the NBA. All right, the Suns, very disappointing. All right, they're right there at the 6th seed. They're just a game out of the play-in situation, and I think they're aching to drop here. Okay, so look, with Devin Booker, he's been out. He's missed games. Kevin Durant has missed games. Bradley Beal has missed a ton of games, and this is a top-heavy team. They have really no bench, and if one of those guys go down, they're in trouble. And even if they go down or the tires, come off the car here in the playoffs, the Suns are in trouble. All right. And I know they have some of the best scorers, Hall of Famers, all that, but they could be in some real trouble. Pelicans, they're starting to make a little bit of a push here. Clearly been disappointed, I think, with Zion Williams in the rebounding numbers. Okay. Offensively, he's been pretty good, but rebounding, he's got to be a double-double guy. Like, I'm not sure why he's not up there with Sabonis in double-doubles. All right. This guy is too good, too athletic to sometimes be getting single rebounds, and I think he's the key here. As far as the Pelicans actually sneaking up on anybody, I don't think that that's going to happen this season, which makes it pretty tough for the Pelicans to rise up here, but I think that they're going to be competitive. I'm not sure they're going to go anywhere. Kings have been a disappointment. After having a terrific year last season, they've taken a downturn, all right? And so De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis have been terrific. Keegan Murray has been okay. He had a great start here to his second campaign, but I think he's kind of fallen off. I think it's going to hurt them that, Herter has gotten injured with the injured shoulder, and also too with Malik Monk being out. That really is going to hurt the Kings because he's a closer. So I think that that's going to be tough for the Kings, the Lakers, and Warriors. And so, I think that it's been injuries and a little bit of age that has caught up to both of these teams, the Lakers and the Warriors. And it's unbelievable to think that it took them to about the last week of the season to actually be in a play-in or a playoff situation. The Lakers, they're not looking very good, not trending very well. LeBron has missed a lot of games, to his standards, and I get it. He's an older player. He's doing phenomenal things at his age, but Anthony Davis just hasn't taken the ropes and the reign, been inconsistent with D'Angelo Russell there, haven't gotten the same effort that they got with Hachimura. They got, what is it, Gabe Vincent over there from Miami. That hasn't really worked out. Been shuffling lineups. Austin Reeves took him a while to get his legs back after working with Team USA. So, yeah, I'm not a really big fan here of the Lakers. The Warriors, they've been playing some great basketball as of late. The chemistry is there when they get Draymond Green on the floor. The question is, will they have great Draymond Green when it comes down to playoff time? So, hopefully he doesn't go out to a suspension or anything like that. And so really, I mean, that's my thoughts here with the Western Conference kind of going into the last week here of the season. I expect for some of these numbers to drop. And quite honestly, man, I know the Suns have been on a run, but I think the Suns are a real candidate to drop down into the play-in situations. If I see any kind of shifting, I think it's going to be the Suns. I think the Suns are going to fall into a play-in situation. And that's dangerous because if you get into a play-in situation, it's a win or go home situation. I don't know if the Suns want to see Golden State. I don't even think they want to see, like a team like the Kings or anything like that. I just don't think that they have enough depth to go here. And I think that would kind of be the head scratcher for this year's NBA season, the fact that they went out and made this huge mega trade and they don't go anywhere. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Definitely make sure you press like and subscribe. You can follow the show on YouTube and also to Spotify. Those links are going to be in the show notes. I want to thank the people out there that have actually watched the show, listened, helped us chime in, and actually throw stories to the show. I want to thank the sponsors out there for putting sponsorship on the show. This is Rico. This is Real Talk Sports. I'll be back with another show, guys. And as usual, peace. Enjoy the final week of the NBA season, guys. Lots of shows and content to come. Peace.